Bum 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 bum. What up? What up? What
What's up?
up?
What's up?
We're here. We're back at it again. Even
I
though
know.
በጣም ተቸግረን ቢሆንም
I
እዚህ
know, right?
ኤፒሶድ የመጣ ነው
Technical
ቴክኒካል ፕሮብለም
difficulties.
ማለት ችግር እና አንዴ ኔትወርክ ችግር አንዴ ምናምን ሲባል በጣም እንትን ግን እስቲ ይሄ ነው every episode we'll try to get better. Last time audio quality we took feedbacks. Now we're trying to work on that. Hopefully then we'll get better every episode. ከሆነ ሰዓት በኋላ ደግሞ ኢንትሮ ምናምን መጀመራችን አይቀርም እንግዲህ እስኪ ቢልዲንግ ኢን ፐብሊክ ይሄ ነው።
I know, literally.
Yeah.
Iteration ነው እንግዲህ.
Yeah. This is what goes on behind the scene, right? We're gonna be showing that up front, literally. Showing the progress
100%.
up front. For sure.
100%.
All right, let's get it.
Yeah. So today we're back with another episode, How to Win Friends and Influence People, part 2,
Part
chapter 3. No, like this is the second episode.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do chapter 3. We covered the first 2 chapters on the first part of the summary. Now we're gonna do chapter 3, and then we're gonna do another episode to finalize this book before we move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get it. It has 12 chapters, so እንግዲህ የተቻልነውን ያህል እናደርጋለን። ግን it's going to be tough, ማንም ሰው የሚያዳምጥ ካለ we're highly recommending that they read the book, እንጂ ከባድ ነው, like, right? Summarizing ከባድ ነው, like, it's dense በጣም the knowledge. ግን
Yeah.
the book አጭር ነው እንግዲህ for anyone who wants to read it. But anyways, our job is to summarize. Let's do it. Let's do our job.
Let's get into it. Yep. Let's get
Yeah.
started. So, I mean, last week we've been talking about 2 chapters, right? Like, in those chapters were more about not criticizing, like not doing things that we're usually doing. So, like, people are like, oh, and then, well, what are we supposed to do? Like, I don't know if no once that happens. So, I guess this chapter talks about how can we win people to our way of thinking, and that's basically what the chapter says: how to win people to your way of thinking. This is part 3, so the whole 12 chapters is going to go through how to win people to our way of thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, chapter 1, it says you can't win an argument.
No.
And yeah, እንደተለመደው Carnegie ይገባል
For sure.
amazing titles.
Yeah.
But basically, this Carnegie says, what was that saying that he says about the best?
There's no winning in an argument, no? Like, which one?
Yeah. Like, it's just there's one way to win an argument, and it's to avoid it. Like, I don't want it, and that's like his motto, like that. And when I first read that, I was like, oh, what the fuck, like, again, it kind of makes sense. So it's because, like, arguing can just make you lose your temper, right? Like, you're talking about something negative about somebody, or you're criticizing, or you're condemning somebody. And it just costs you the other person's goodwill. Like, and especially if you lose like, whether you win an argument or you lose the argument, you're losing at the end of the day. Like, so that just makes it's like a lose-lose situation, right? Like, and when you lose, you're just satisfying yourself, not like you're still damaging the relationship anyways. When you win him, but and it didn't kind of open my eyes until I saw it. And Carnegie suggests, like, instead of like sticking to our guns, we need to try to put ourselves in other people's points of views and see where they're coming from or how they're thinking. And there might be some important things that we're missing that's making them think the way they're thinking, and that's making us think the way we're thinking. And it says there's just like being calm and let other let them be heard, right? Like, that's what he emphasizes that a lot, like, throughout the chapter, like, about like making sure we listen to people, making sure we hear people, and then just that's like the main thing, right? Like what else do you
For
want to
sure.
add to this?
For sure. I mean, like one thing that hit me when I first read this chapter is like, so when two people argue, like one lose ያደረገው ሰው, they're not gonna end up feeling great about it. You get what I mean? Arguments like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like one thing seal, but like that resonated with me. It's like there was never a time and I truly lost an argument because I would always fight it, you know, but Charlie meta. And
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
ሲጀምር nobody would lose ነገር willingly ማለት ነው ገብቷል
of
ምንም
course.
ጭራሽ
Yeah.
እና ደግሞ if they do ደግሞ በቃ lose they're not gonna feel good about it በቃ ጭራሽ በቃ የሆነ you know አብሮ የሆነ your ego ነው እንትን የሚለው የሆነ ፐርሰናል ነገር ነው የሚሆነው you know በቃ የሆነ lose ስታደርግ it's like you know that person is better than you ነገር ስሜት የሚሰጠው እና there is no winning like አሁን አንተ ብታሸንፍ let's say ከሰው ጋር argue አድርገህ ብታሸንፍ you're making them feel bad እና how can that be a win ገብቷል እንዴት ነው like ሰውን አስከፋኝ or መጥፎ ስሜት እንዲሰማው አረኩኝ ብለህ how could you consider that a win? You get what I mean? So it's like that part was like crazy like I was like you know mind opener ነገር something that blew my mind. So I thought that was really amazing. Not like basically it's like just think over the other person's perspective. Like I mean, it's like one thing I took away from this chapter is like I understand that I have a different point of view. Gniski, let me stop trying to convince that person and not excuse be like, you know, let me hear what they're trying to say. You wanna I guess trying to look at it from their perspective, man. I guess like there are other chapters like in more than again, you know, trying to stop and not just don't argue, just you know, try to listen to their perspective, naga. That's one huge takeaway I took from this one. Like that's what the book says. Yeah.
I completely agree.
For sure. So let's go to chapter 2.
Yes.
Yeah. And the sweet title of chapter 2 says a sure way of making enemies and how to avoid it. So Zigam Denomilo, like basically the book says like በእርግጠኝነት if you want people to be against you or ወዲያውኑ like to make them you know start resenting you or something ነገር ምን ማድረግ ነው ያለባችሁ ሄዱና ትክክል አይደለም or you're wrong በቃ የሆነ ተሳስታል ምናምን ብለህ የሆነ በቃ እንትን ማለት ነው like ፊት ለፊታቸው ከዛ nobody's gonna be like በቃ የሆነ ተሳስታል you're wrong ምናምን ስትባል nobody's gonna be like oh great you know like በቃ የሆነ እሺ ምናምን ብሎ like automatically like 99% of the time ሰው ላይ እንትን የሚለው ነገር ምንድነው ትሪገር የሚያደርገው defensiveness ነው. So it's like when you start like talking like that like it's automatically gonna create enemies you know and ደግሞ we have this thing one thing like the book also says like we have this thing in us that ሰውን ዲስፕሩቭ ማድረግ የምንፈልገው ነገር አለ like I guess that makes us feel better or that makes us feel important you know like we're some kind of የተሻሉ ሰዎች ነገር ግን we should like resist that urge እና በቃ ይሄ ሰውን ዲስፕሩቭ ከማድረግና to feel important from that ያለን እንትን ነገር በጣም ከሱ ዲሶሺየት ማድረግ አለብን የሚለው that was crazy line.
I think you summarized that pretty well. Like it's more like an ego thing, አይደለ? Like how we just want to like feel የሌለ important like you said. So whenever we know something that other person doesn't and they tell it to us, በቃ አዘጋጅተን ነው like it's almost like ወይ ምናምን በቃ ደስ በሚል ሁኔታ ነው በቃ ምንገባላቸው ነው like it's so funny to me like but it just like we just have to respect other people's opinions like I think it connects like the whole chapter keeps connecting right like we just have to respect people's opinions so whether it's right whether it's wrong we just have to listen and just kind of respect their opinions before we bring them to our way of thinking or enlighten them to what we think and just getting the ego out of it so yeah this was a very nice one and chapter 3 ደግሞ that's kind of similar but it reflects to you here ደግሞ it says if you're wrong admit it and this one is like an opposite of የበፊቱ ማለት ነው። Like just as much as we don't like people don't like hearing they're wrong, we ourselves don't like to admit when we're wrong, right? Like we just kind of, it's always like it makes it hard to until it's so like so like let's just admit it. It's always easier to criticize ourselves than others criticizing us. So just admitting error, it creates a lot of like compassion and understanding between people. So it creates like for a better relationship between like you know what I'm saying, like you know, creates a lot of comfort and other people also coming to you and feeling safe to open up to you. I don't know. And
for sure.
And like one thing, the funny thing is like sometimes when you're wrong and now when you flat out like admit it, you're like like even people that want to accuse you will start defending, which is so funny. Like, and like I've seen that a lot of times. Like, okay, you know this person is gonna. I think there's an example that there's multiple examples like the like you know this person is gonna criticize you, so you admit the criticism. You admit like, okay, but this is what happened. I take full accountability. So like that person has nothing to say, right? Like, and does that ever such to or like they'll start defending you because now you're criticizing yourself. So like it's crazy how it works.
Amazing you know, like like I remember like reading this part and now I was like, what? And actually I remember like trying it and now like seeing the results. It's crazy for anybody listening. And so it's like basically it's like ሰው ተሳስታችኋል ሳይላችሁ በፊት ቀድማችሁ አረ ተሳስቻለሁ በጣም ተሳስቻለሁ ምናምን ብላችሁ like በደንብ criticize yourself like really ማለት like በደንብ በቃ ላያችሁ ላይ ውረዱበት በቃ የሆነ like አሁን ለምሳሌ typical example, right? ካረፈድን and this happens to every Ethiopian. Every Ethiopian, right? ካረፈድክ ሰው አርፍዳል ሳይል በፊት ራስህ በቃ like ወይኔ አርፍጃለሁ ወይኔ ምናምን ከዛ በኋላ like በቃ I must be the worst person you've ever met ምናምን በቃ የሆነ like በደንብ ማለት ነው like go all out on yourself ማለት ነው እና like እንደኔ መቼስ በቃ አዛ ሰው በቃ ቀጥረህ አታውቅም ወይ ቀጥረሽ አታውቂም or something የሆነ እንደዚህ እና በደንብ like really like go hard on yourself እና like ምንም በቃ የሆነ without ምንም ሳታስቀር ማለት በቃ like በደንብ criticize yourself and then just watch watch what happens. It's crazy. Because it's like demo vice versa. I've seen it demo vice versa. When somebody does that, and I start defending people, you know. And now like you know, it's not that bad, but it's okay, you know, it's okay now. And I even like example also I in the book about there's this man walking his dog in a park and ግዴታ ታስሮ መሄድ አለበት. The dog should be walked with a leash, right? ከዛ ሰውየው ግን በቃ he's just you know letting the dog run እንደፈለገ ምናምን ነገርና ፓርክ ሬንጀሩ አይቶ first time he warned them. ከዛ በኋላ በቃ እንደዚህ ማድረግ የለበትም ምናምን እንደዚህ ታደርጋለህ ምናምን ብሎ እንትናል. But then next time ልክ ሰውየው ትንሽ አሰራሰረና ከዛ በኋላ በቃ ልፍታው ምናምን ፓርክ ሬንጀሩ የለም ምናምን ብሎ ከዛ በኋላ ፈታው ማለት ነው። ከዛ በኋላ ፓርክ ሬንጀሩ ከዛ በኋላ ወዲያውኑ ላይክ በቃ ደቅ ሲል ቀድሞ ሰውየው ጋር ሄደና ላይክ ፖሊሱ ጋር ሄደና በጣም ይቅርታ በቃ እኔ አውቃለሁ በቃ መቀጣት አለብኝ እንደኔ አይነት መጥፎ ሰው እዚህ ፓርክ ውስጥ ገብቶ አያውቅም በቃ እንትኖችን እያበላሸ በቃ እንደዚህ ውሻ እየለቀቀ ምናምን like የሌለ ኤግዛጀሬት አድርገ ከዛ በኋላ ልክ as soon as he finished በቃ እንደዛ ምናምን ሲል ከዛ the police was like the park ranger was like you know no it's okay ማለት it's not that bad like በቃ የሆነ መጀመሪያ ላይ ይቀጣሉ ምናምን ብሎ በቃ እንትን ብሎ የት ነበር ኧረ በቃ ይሄን ያህልማ ችግር የለውም ላይክ ኢትስ ኦኬ ምናምን ብሎ በቃ በቃ ለዛሬ ምንም ችግር የለውም በቃ እተዋለሁ በቃ እንትን ብትለው ወይ ደግሞ በቃ እዛች ጋር ጥግ ላይ ውሰደው ነው እንትን በለው ውሻውን ልቀቀው ምንም ችግር የለውም ወደዛ ጋር ካረከው ምንም ችግር የለውም እኔም በቃ ዞር ብዬ እንትን እላለሁ ምናምን ብሎ እንትን አለው ማለት እና this was a very accurate example like of what happens in real life man very amazing chapter yeah very nice very nice all right let's move on to chapter 4
yes
so chapter 4 the title says a drop of honey so basically what this chapter is all about is like it's all about beginning in a friendly way so whenever we want to have uncomfortable conversation let's say የሆነ ሰው ጥሩ ነገር እንዳልሰራ especially at work like really like there are so many times where we have uncomfortable conversations somebody's not performing well where somebody didn't handle some situation well or something where if there's someone making you feel some type of way you get what I mean even in a relationship by the way like I really noticed this applies in a relationship too if somebody makes you feel some type of way usually we tend to like burst ነገር like ሄደን በቃ እንዴ ምንድነው ምናምን እንደዚህ አስከፍተሽኛል or something like በቃ እንደዚህ ምናምን ብለን ወደ መጮ ወይ በስራም ቢሆን like ለምንድነው እንደዛ ያላረክሽው ምናምን ብለን we tend to do that like that's what you normally see but we're not supposed to do that right like we should start in a very friendly way we should be like oh okay I understand ጎበዝ ሰራተኛ እንደሆንኩ ወይ እንደሆንሽ እንደዚህ ያረክሽ ነው እንደዚህ ያረከውን this week ኖትስ አድርጌያለሁ that's really good በጣም like ደስ ብሎኛል about what you did የዛኔ እና ይሄ በዚህ ኢሹ አይቻል አቅም so በጣም አሪፍ ነው እና ደስ ብሎኛል like it's been really good እዚህ ጋር ያየሁት ነገር ግን አለ እዚህ ጋር ደግሞ አንድ ነገር የሚለው እንዲሁም in the book like do not use but ይላል but በቃ ግን የሚለውን ጭራሽ በቃ አትጠቀሙ instead of but use and እና ብላችሁ በቃ ቀጥሉ and ብላችሁ ቀጥሉ there's a big difference because but ምንል ከሆነ usually እንዴት ነው like የሆነ ሰው የሆነ ነገር ከኛ ሲፈልግ ምናምን ብሎ መጀመሪያ ላይ የሆነ ፍላተር ያደርግና ግን ብሎ ከዛ በኋላ በቃ ኦልሬዲ የሆነ ትጠብቃለህ በቃ ግን ሲል በቃ የሆነ ኦልሬዲ ዲፌንሲቭ ስቴት ላይ ሆነ በቃ ያው ሊመጣ ነገር ምናምን የጠበቅኩት መጣ ምናምን ግን in this case it's like እዛው ላይ በቃ you've been doing really good for example in work center right you've been doing really good ምናምን and I noticed that this wasn't done this morning so is there a way we can get that done way or is there a reason why it wasn't done way is there something we can do about it way በምን ማሻሻል እንችላለን እሱ ሆኖ አሁን እንደዚህ ሲሆን it seems like it doesn't even seem like for the other person it doesn't even seem like ምንድነው ለምድ ያልተሰራው ምናምን እያልኩ አይመስልም ራሱ the whole conversation ማለት but literally you're getting the same results like ሄደ ለምንድን ያልሰራው ብትልና like the result that you want to get በእንደዚህ መልኩ approach ታደርገው you're basically getting the same result ማለት ነው I thought that was like freaking amazing
that's awesome and chapter 5 moving on it's the secret of Socrates and this one was basically a technique Socrates used to use to winning people to his point of view and it's fairly easy but I guess nobody tends to use it it's like getting the other person to say yes right away by asking them like very simple questions which they can disagree with right like just obvious like something like they're very common like that people can just say yes to I have those conversations with a couple of yeses ከተጀመረ it makes it so much easier to agree rather than focus on differences ነገር ማለት ነው especially like this is usually like in business meetings and negotiations and stuff like that I think this helps a lot more because at the end of the day the goal is the same right like when you're working together or when you're partnering up together the goal is to benefit both parties and not to get to a certain place for both people so kind of like focusing on that side instead of the differences and having the first couple of yeses out of the way just makes things a lot easier ነገር እና Socrates used to do that a lot. And he was the master of this technique apparently.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think like there's also a book, right? Starts with yes meal.
I think so.
I think I remember a book like that. And like you're on a sales book ነገር book about sales. And I remember like እንደዛ አላ like
yeah, I think maybe some negotiation book ይሁን or like
something
I don't
like
know,
that,
but it's, yeah, this topic like በደንብ broadly ሲወራበት ሰምቼ አውቃለሁ for sure.
I think Chris Voss ራሱ ይላል መሰለኝ negotiation. Yeah. Anyways, like this yes thing is like, I guess the psychology behind it, like መጽሐፉ ላይ like what really fascinated me was like የሚለው ምንድን ነው? It's like it makes that person think we're on the same page, you know, like we have the same values or we have the same understanding about the situation, you know. አሁን ለምሳሌ የሆነ ነገር ለሰው ልትሸጥ ከሆነ ሄደህ ግዙኝ ምናምን ትላቸው ኦር ትላቸው it's like why, you know, like ምንም ካንተ ጋር ምንም ራፖርት ነገር ክሬት አላደረጉም ወይ የሆነ ኮኔክሽን ምናምን ክሬት አላደረጉም they don't know that you have their best interest at heart ነገር እነሱ የሚፈልጉት ነገር እንደምትሰጣቸው አያውቁም so they're probably not gonna do it, you know, like or ደግሞ the chances are much lower than መጀመሪያ ላይ if you get that yes ማለት ነው so that yes is basically like it's not exactly yes አስብሏቸው not exactly like እንደዛ ላይሆን ይችላል but like making them know that you're on the same page or you're on their side, you know. It's like እንደዚህ ችግር እየተቸገራችሁ ነው እኔም እየተቸገርኩ ነበር አዎ እንደዚህ የሚቀርፍ ነገር ፈልጋችሁ ነበር እኔ በጣም ፈልጌ ነበር አዎ እንደዚህ ከዛ በኋላ አይቼ ነበረ ምናምን እንደዚህ ትፈልጋላችሁ የሚሸጥ አይቼ ነበረ እና ባመጣላችሁ ትገዛላችሁ ከዛ በኋላ it's like አዎ እና there is a high chance that they will continue with another አዎ ማለት ነው or with another yes or በጣም ደስ ይለኛል ብለው በጣም ኮንቨርት የሚያደርጉበት ቻንስ is like way bigger ማለት ነው so that part was like crazy to me. It was amazing.
I think the previous things like they help put you in this position like yes የሚሉትን ጥያቄዎችን ላለማምጣት like you have to put yourself in that person's shoe to realize like what is a non-disagreeable thing that this person can say yes to ነገር ማለት ነው so it's kind of በጣም connected ነገር ከበፊቶቹ ጋር
በጣም like everything is really connected like with this book like really connected, you know. Specific situation maybe our allergy like the whole concept is like really connected. Definitely. All right, so chapter 6 the title is the safety valve in handling complaints. So in any time like we have complaints the title is and anytime we have complaints if you want በቃ የሆነ like complaintun ወዲያውኑ በቃ የሆነ ለማራስ ነገር ከፈለጋችሁ let the other person do a great deal of the talking like በቃ አስወሯቸው like በደንብ በቃ የሆነ ይውጣላቸው ነገር the complaint ማለት ነው እና ምንም ችግር የለውም like when they vent it's like basically like venting, right?
Of course.
Let them vent ነገር and now we know this technique like ሳነበው እኔ ቀጥታ ይመጣልኝ it's like customer service. So whenever you have customer service like if a customer calls and complains you just listen, you just shut the fuck up and listen like ብለህ አዳምጥ እና like validate I guess like in the next chapter ይገባበታል ግን like really just ዝም ብለህ ጸጥ ብላ እና ይውጣላቸው like they need to feel listened to እና በቃ just እነሱ እንዲያወሩ በቃ just what do you feel what happened exactly ምናምን እያልክ like really just understand this. And I thought that was like really great. This is basically customer service, you know.
Yeah, one-on-one again.
yeah literally. Meta.
Yeah, so let's move on to the next one, chapter 7. And chapter 7 is like how to get cooperation. I think the best way I did like the book kind of talks about like this was kind of like a weird way because it challenged my I guess some like ego in some way like it says like Carnegie like it says let the other person feel like the idea is theirs ነገር ማለት ነው so which was like I'm like እንዴት እንኬት ነው ምናምን ነገር because especially like at workplace or with relationships and stuff like we're so used to like taking credit for everything right like or like wanting credit for whatever we do ነገር so like if we contribute to something or like we want our name to be mentioned or like like that's always a personal thing but the best way to get cooperation is to make them feel like it's their idea and that's also a best way to bring them to your way of thinking right like so rather than convincing people to accept your idea it's like it's almost like planting a seed in their mind first and let them arrive to that conclusion so they feel like they came up with the idea so the more you do that it's like the best the more results you're gonna get and one thing but that got to me was that's it he said something in the book about like and it mentioned it and when we were summarizing it it's like getting credit for an idea is less important than getting the result like and that was like an eye-opener for me I'm like the reason why we're contributing ideas or doing this and that is to get the result it's not to get the credit or something it's not for fame or an ego stroke and once you realize that then you'll be like okay you know kind of put your guard down and make sure like you approach things the right way and asking clients asking customers what they want what they need and not sell them to something but just like listening to them and then giving them the idea so they can get to that conclusion instead of just spraying that and expecting them to give us credit for this amazing idea so that was this chapter was very an eye-opener for me
but honestly I think there are only but few people in this world that really understand this ማለት
oh yeah
it's like creditun እንትን ብለህ like really thinking about the result እና like you really gotta be the bigger person እንደዚህ ለማሰብ ማለት ነው really ማለት ነው because like imagine የሆነ like let's say you achieve something የሆነ or you're causing something በጣም ገራሚ but you're not taking credit for it you really got to be a big person እንደዛ ለማድረግ this feeling is exactly the same like for the smallest situation ሊሆን ይችላል for በጣም ትልቅ situation like I don't know solving world hunger ወይ ምናምን ሊሆን ይችላል not taking the credit being the bigger person now making other people like think they came up with it and like letting them think that like they were the ones that solved it that takes like commitment to the result not to the vision rather than to your ego like I think we've talked about it like about this like offline when we're doing our businesses we're committed to the vision so it's like we don't really mind like in any of the business that we run like we don't mind if a competition arises because like they're trying to achieve that vision if we have to we'll help them if we have to we'll join them because at the end of the day we're trying to achieve the vision now we're committed to the vision not to the business or not to our ego or something like that now, it's kind of like the same thing okay maybe that's the business side but this item it's kind of like the same thing and I feel like this chapter like about summarize like coaching it's basically coaching Ethiopia I don't know if it's like coaching is like a common thing it's not right on like on like a lot of coaches again it's not something that's common then basically when you're coaching it's like you're asking questions like and coaching is like a really important skill right like in friendship so it's like you can't really directly tell someone oh እንደዚህ ማድረግ አለብህ ካልከው most probably people are not going to do it unless they ask for your advice like ምን ላድርግ ብሎ ካልጠየቁ በስተቀር your unsolicited advice especially when they're not asking you for advices if you give an advice it's an automatic rejection ጭራሽ ደግሞ if you keep giving that advice it's going to be like a block ነው የሚያደርገው So it's like the smart way of slipping in your advice is like by asking questions like, what do you think about this? Have you thought about a solution for this? Or have you thought about doing this as a solution? Like how are you seeing this situation? ምናምን እያሉ like ጥያቄ እየጠየቁ making them, leading them to the solution, not making them come up with the answer by themselves ማለት ነው። አንተ ጥያቄ እየጠየቅ እነሱ ራሳቸው መልሱ እንዲያገኙት ማለት ነው። በቃ coaching.
And it's not the easiest thing to do. Like even knowing all of this, like conscious effort ይፈልጋል. Like
በጣም it's so hard. You really need to be conscious of yourself and ego what ማድረግ አለብህ. Yeah.
And the company side እንደውም በጣም ቀሎኛል. Like with relationships አንዳንዴ በጣም like with friendship and relationship, it becomes so much, especially when you know the solution. Like በቃ you know what በቃ ምን መደረግ እንዳለበት በቃ step by step አውቃለሁ። ግን I know ማውራቴ ምንም እንደማመጣ ደግሞ አውቃለሁ። So like it's so hard not to say it and making sure you help them figure it out by not telling them.
Yes.
That shit is like mind-bending.
Especially for guys. This is for yeah, Darby, when you got who's listening? No, seriously, because like we guys, like we men tend to give solutions, right? When our partners like are facing problems, and yeah, we want to be fixers. Like that's, I guess that's our natural urge, right? To be able to fix it, not like the problem, and especially when we really believe we know the solution. We might really not, that's maybe it's not a solution that our partner is looking for, and most of the time 99% of the time our solution is not the solution they're looking for. You get what I mean? Like, they're not looking for a solution, they're just coming to you, just venting, and not just like they just need comforting, and that's like they just need comfort, that's it. They just need someone to listen to them. And yeah, again, we have this tendency to really provide a solution, not like fix it, and not like so hard, but hold that temptation, just like keep on comforting, like live with that problem. Live with that problem. That's the only way to put it. All right, let's get back to the book, because you got
I know, right? We got that jug for a little bit.
For sure.
Personal ችግር ሲነካኩ ከባድ ነው ትላለህ።
For sure.
Let's go.
All right, chapter 8. So chapter 8's title is a formula that would work wonders for you. So I think this is like a chapter that really summarizes kind of like the whole book, honestly speaking, because like what this chapter says is like, Manila, try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Like really, and it says, I think honestly, Milo, really, I think
that's what I'm important part.
Capitalize መደረግ አለበት, like really honestly እስኪ ከዛ ሰውዬ ምን እያሰበ ነው, like በቃ አሁን somebody might say something very absurd, በጣም በቃ ሴንስ የማይሰጥ ነገር ሊያወራ ይችላል አንድ ሰው፣ ግን really እስኪ ከሱ ፐርስፔክቲቭ ሆኜ እስቲ ለማሰብ ልሞክር። ሜቢ የሆነ ሰውዬ መጥቶ በቃ I don't know, like በቃ የሆነ ማየውን ነገር አድርጋለሁ እያለ ሊሆን ይችላል። በቃ ሴንስ የማይሰጥ ነገር ማለት ነው። በቃ ድንጋይ አንስቼ በቃ በየቦታው እወረውራለሁ ምናምን በሙላ ሰው ፈነክታለሁ ምናምን እያለ እስቲ like really as hard as it is እና like as tempted as we are ሄደን በቃ የሆነ ምንድን ነው እንዴ ኖ ምናምን ብለን ለማለት really let's try to imagine things from his perspective, like what is really that guy going through, what is going through his head, ወይ ምን አይነት childhood ነበር, it might be as deep as that, what you have to see ማለት ነው ከዛ ሰው አንጻር ስታየው። እና this is like I feel like the key to everything.
Better. Like I mean I don't even know what to ask, like here I think you summarized it like pretty well, right? Like የበፊቱ ቻፕተር ስትል አይሙሬ ላይ እያሳሰበኝ ነው ትላለህ እና ይሄኛው ደግሞ like even more like because we don't think of it that way. I think this goes to like maybe reactive and not proactive state like mahon nagar, right? Like usually when we're reactive, like it's always like our point of view nagar.
Yes.
But when you're kind of proactive, you kind of sit back and like, what made this person do what they just did? You know, like it might be in the moment thing, it might be a long set of steps that led to them being who they are, man. And that helps you not take things personally as well. Like offend የሚያደርግ ነገር እንኳ ቢሆን or completely or your point of view ራሱ የማይገናኝ ቢሆን like it helps you kind of just see where it's coming from and understand what it's about ነገር ማለት even though it doesn't mean you have to believe in it or anything, but it just means like you're genuinely seeing where it's coming from, and that also helps you do the previous one, which is getting cooperation ነገር ላይ ማለት ነው, and how to bring them to your point of view ለማምጣት ራሱ. It makes it easier because now you understand those set of steps that led to this person feeling the way that they're feeling or having the opinions that they have ነገር ማለት ነው. So it's a very important step.
በጣም one thing like the chapter like I guess like for me personally like something I really took away was like when you see things really honestly from people's perspective, you start realizing የሆነ በቃ ሴንስ አይሰጥም ምላቸው በሙላ ሰዎች ኦፒኒየኖች በሙላ ምናምን ሴንስ መስጠት ይጀምራሉ. you know like like it's that statement like in the book የሚለው ነገር like if I know I'm butchering this like no quotes አደረገው it's not really accurate like if we were in their shoes we would be doing the exact same thing that they would be doing. I think Lincoln was the one that said this or something, and not like
I'm not sure.
እንደዛ ነገር
I'd be lying. I would like to validate your opinion.
Thank you ግን like በቃ really like ከነሱ እንትን ይኸውና ምን እያልኩኝ ነበር? I got lost in my head. ሊንከን ምን እያል ነበር እያልኩኝ ነበር? all right I'll just move on. But like you start seeing that it makes sense really kind of perspectives and oh yeah tizali. So if we were in people's shoes we would exactly be doing what they will be doing. like አሁን ለምሳሌ አንድ ሰው ባደገበት መልኩ እኛም ካደግን exactly ህይወቱ ላይ ኤክስፒሪየንስ ያደረገው ነገር ኤክስፒሪየንስ ካደረግን at this point ስንደርስ we would be doing exactly what they're doing, exactly how they're doing it. You know, and now like assume understand scenario, it's like oh wow okay, you know, and now ሌላ ነገር ደግሞ like from their perspective exactly when we start seeing that you know they're actually right and ብዙ ጊዜ we're actually wrong or nobody's wrong ነገር really ከነሱ perspective ሆነን ስናየው ማለት ነው. It's like that's what I start realizing like nobody's wrong, it's just በቃ perspective ልዩነት ነው. From their perspective it's completely right. That's
I
huge
completely agree.
Yeah.
And there's this amazing saying that says it's more like it says position is perspective. And that saying talks about like it has this example, you know, like a cone. When you look at it like 90 degree, it's a triangle. But if you look at it from the top, it's a circle.
Oh yeah.
So it's like position is perspective. So like your position is like that's what creates your perspective. So it's like both of those positions are not wrong, right? Like and you're triangle and that person you're circle and we're both right.
That's an amazing example.
So that was like at first like it was bending my brain. Our position is perspective. Like what the fuck does that mean? Like again, like the more I dug deep into it, and these examples around, it's like damn, you know, like that position is the perspective. Like I don't know, and that's exactly what this book talks about in this chapter. That's an interesting discovery. But moving on, chapter 9, and that is what everyone wants. And what everyone wants is sympathy, you know, and like everybody just wants to see this ነገር. And like if they see this, people will love you ነገር for it. Like, and sympathy, I think it's more like making sure like we're kind of I think ከበፊት እስካሁን ድረስ ያወራነው እንዳለ ይጠቃልላል ነገር I think in this, right? Like
so much.
making sure making sure we put ourselves in other people's perspective, apologizing when we're offending somebody, and validating somebody's feelings for like if we hurt them or something, like you know what I'm saying, like just making sure, okay, validating, we understand what they're feeling, and that makes people feel hurt, that makes people feel wanted, and that feeling of importance create sympathy ማለት ነው. And that kindness, like even this is also in the Bible, right? So grass to መታቀኝን ስጥ ምናምን አይነት ነገር, it's like this is what it talks about basically, right? It's like making sure like if somebody is upsetting you or upset you in a situation like that, like choose kindness instead of anger ነገር ማለት ነው. Because that anger is temporary, and when that situation ሲያልፍ, it's gonna be a whole another thing ማለት ነው. So it's like this one it's the show sympathy.
Definitely. And showing sympathy like requires a lot of self-control, right? Especially in times of uncomfortable situation, or and so like your immediate let's say tendency or react ለማድረግ የምትፈልገው is like or አንተም ጮኸ ወይ የሆነ ዲፌንሲቭ በቃ ሆነ እንትን ለማለት ነው። ግን it's like ሰው ሲጮህብህ or something, really try to understand. Maybe they're going through a bad day, maybe like something happened to their family member just recently, and now it's just they lost their job that day, or like ተሰርቀው ሊሆን ይችላል, the same day or something. Not like አስበው አሁን አንተ የዛውን ቀን ስራ ናተህ or something something happened to your family member ምናምን ነገር ነው። ታክሲ በቃ ተጋፍተህ ስገባ አንዱ የሌለ ቢያሽከነጥር or something እንዴት እንደምትጮህ አስበው። like ያው ታክሲ መጋፋት is normal, right? የሆነ በጉልበትና ሽልክ ማለት ነው የምትገባው ታክሲ ውስጥ። ግን like አንድ ሰው እንዲህ እንደምትናደድ like ኮት አንኮት ሪዝነብሊ እንደምትናደድ አስብ። like ከዛው እንደዚህ እንትን ብትል አሁን ወይ እንደዚህ ሰው ቢጮህብህ or something we don't know what's going on through their life or their head ወይ ምናምን ነገር እና like really try to sympathize with them. Like maybe they're going through such a tough time, ሁሌም አንዳንድ ጊዜ ደግሞ there are people like ሁሌም እንደዚህ እንትን የሚሆነው በጣም ኔጌቲቭ ወይ ሁሌ I don't know like መጥፎ ጸባይ የሚያሳዩ ምናምን ሊሆን ይችላል። It's so hard, but like really sympathizing with them, maybe their childhood was really rough, maybe they have really rough triggers, and now like really trying to sympathize with them is like it's hard, but at the same time I feel like it also this book calls to our nobler motives ነገር, we want to be as much as possible, everyone wants to be a good person or wants to be known for doing something good or being someone good, right? Not like that's what it's asking us with the book. Not really try to sympathize with people. And not really even when you need cooperation, but sympathize understanding their perspective, and not like really showing them the benefit of suggesting that they do. And not especially this part is really important when if it's gonna cause them some kind of difficulty. ከባድ ነገር ወይ የምትጠይቅ ከሆነ like a hard favor or tough favor ነገር የምትጠይቅ ከሆነ really sympathize እና like really explain that you understand that it's really tough እና በጣም እንዳዘንክ how they feel ምናምን እሱ part really that part is like important እና የተማርኩት ነገር በጣም ከባድ ነገር እሱ ነው። የሌለ
it's not easy
በጣም all right, let's go to the next. All right, chapter 10. So chapter 10, the title is An Appeal That Everybody Likes. So basically, I actually touched upon this just now. Like it's basically like appealing to a person's nobler motive, because like like they want to be very good, or they want to believe the best of themselves. Everyone wants to believe that they're a good person, that they're like a kind person way ጥሩ ሰዎች ነን ብለው ማመን ይፈልጋሉ ሁሉም ሰው ማለት ነው። ኦር ጥሩ ነገር የምንሰራ ሰዎች ነው ምናምን ብሎ ማመን ይፈልጋሉ። እና ሌትስ ሪሊ ታፕ ኢንቱ አናዘር ፐርሰንስ ኖብለር ሞቲቭ እና ላይክ አንደርስታንድ ዳት ኤቭሪዋን ዋንትስ ቱ ፊል ዳት ዌይ እና ላይክ ስንጠይቅም ጥያቄ ኦር ሰምቲንግ ሪሊ ዩዝ ዳት ቱ አወር አድቫንቴጅ አስ ላይክ ለሰው እንጠቀምባቸው ሳይሆን ሪሊ የሆነ አሁን ለምሳሌ when we're having a disagreement or something አንተ ጥሩ ሰው እንደሆንክ አውቃለሁ maybe I could say to you አሁን ከአንተ ጋር እንትን ብንል like no I know you're a great person, I know you're a good person, I know you want nothing but the best for me እና like ለሁሉም ሰው ጥሩ ቀና መሆን እንደምትፈልግ አውቃለሁ እና እንደዚህ ግን ተሰማኝ እንደዚህ ሆንኩኝ እና የሆነ or something or እንደዚህ ስታደርግ እንደዚህ ሆነብኝ እኔ ምናምን ነው ከዛ በኋላ that like really changed ወዲያውኑ like even that if that person wants to react የሆነ ምን አባቱ ነው የሚለው ምናምን ማለት የሚፈልግ ራሱ really like you already told them በቃ የሆነ አንተ ጥሩ ሰው ነህ አንተ ቀና ሰው ነህ በጣም ታጋሽ ነህ even like የሆነ you can use that to let's say your advantage የምትጠይቀው ነገር ማለት ነው አሁን ለምሳሌ የምታረፍድ ከሆነ or something or የሆነ እንትን ከሆነ ነው በጣም በቃ የሆነ or ደግሞ let's say እያረፈር አሁን ለምሳሌ let's say ስራ ሲቹዌሽን ነው በልና በጣም እያረፈርክ የምታስቸግረኝ ከሆነ እያረፈርክ እየመጣ ከሆነ I would say no I know በጣም ጠንካራ ሰራተኛ እንደሆንክ ስራዎችን በሰዓቱ እንደምጨርስ ሰዓት አጠቃቀም ላይ ጎበዝ እንደሆንክ በጣም ጥሩ ሰው እንደሆንክም አውቃለሁ የጠዋቱ ላይ ግን ስትመጣ አርፍደ ነበረ ግን አንተ በጣም ሰዓት አክባሪ እንደሆንክ አውቃለሁ ስራዎችንም ምናምን ትላለህ ለዛ ነው አንደርስታንድ ያላረኩት ቢካዝ አንተ ሰዓት አክባሪ ስለሆንክ ብለህ ጭራሽ reinforce that on that person ማለት ነው እና በጣም like especially with kids ምናምን like that really works really works it's amazing it's just amazing
almost ኃላፊነት የተሰጣቸው ስለሆነ like you're priding them of the thing that they're lacking so it's like oh shit
exactly
that's
the opposite works too አሁን አንተ አርፋጅ ምናምን ብትባል አርፋጅ ሳትሆን ራሱ አርፋጅ ነህ ካልኩ ከዛ በኋላ you're most likely to be አርፋጅ already label ስለተደረግክ ማለት
ነው
but if you're labeled to be something good በቃ hard working ነህ ምናምን ከተባልክ most likely በቃ you'll start being that person identifying as that person ማለት start doing what that person does
yeah sure
crazy
and chapter 11 is the movies do it TV does it why don't you do it that's what it is and it's referring to is dramatize your ideas and this is something like I'm very horrible at for example like personally like dramatizing ideas like basically ashkabto no yale I guess I can and it's like I think sometimes like you're right like listening to facts and figures can be boring and even that's something like I'm working on in Mandali website like when trying to tell a story or an idea or something some things are just boring like they're just not fun to listen to right like and Carnegie is saying like try to add drama or like something to intrigue the audience like I don't want to intrigue whoever is listening and some like I think this part is more like a skill like a meetup group and the previous steps በደንብ digest ከተደረጉ ለዚህኛው step በጣም ይቀላል like when we're putting ourselves in positions other people's positions we understand what they want to hear what they want to listen to so we know what kind of things they like and don't like ነገር ማለት right so soon we can use it to our advantage when we present certain things to them certain things maybe intrigue their curiosity so it's much easier for us to just flat out just say whatever and they'll listen to us regardless right and there's certain things that they don't care about so we have to make sure we basically movie lend them not a good dramatize and use some showmanship and make sure we capture their attention in a way that they can and that's simply what this chapter is like it's
totally እኔ the only thing በቃ ቻፕተር የሚያመጣልኝ is toastmasters So I don't know, anybody listening, like, Google Toastmasters, join your local Toastmasters club. You'll see the benefits. Showmanship to the point. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's do.
All right. So chapter 12 and the last chapter in part 3, it says, when nothing else works, try this. So Milo, like obviously from the chapter, like this should be your last resort, I mean, like but Shalimatan, this shouldn't be your first resort. And basically Milo, use competition or challenge to motivate people. So drive productivity. And like it mentions like an example of የሆነ ፋክተሪ ውስጥ የሚሰሩ ሰዎች ዴይ ሽፍት እና ናይት ሽፍት እንትን እያሉ እና like I think it was Charlie Schwab መሰለኝ he went to the factory እና ምን አረገ ዝም ብሎ ሄደና ቾክ ላይ ስንት ባች ነው የሰሩት ዴይ ሽፍት ብሎ ጠየቀ to the manager ማለት ይሄን ያህል አሉት ኦኬ ምናምን ብሎ ጻፈው ስንት ነው I guess it was like 5 or something 5 ብሎ ጻፈ ከዛ በኋላ ናይት ሽፍት ሲመጡ የሆነ ቁጥር 5 የሚል ተጽፏል እና ላይክ እንዴ ምንድን ነው ይሄን ምናምን ከዛ ላይ ዴይ ሽፍት የሰሩት ነው 5 ምናምን ከዛ በኋላ ናይት ሽፍት was like እንዴ እኛ እስከዛሬ እኮ 3 ምናምን ነበር የምንሰራው ቆይ እናሳያቸዋል እንዴ 5 እንደዚህ ሰርተው እኛን እንትን ይሉና እንዴ ምናምን ብለው ናይት ሽፍት ከዛ በኋላ የሚቀጥለው ቀን 7 አጥፍቶት 7 አድርገውት ሄዱ ማለት ነው ከዛ ነገ ጠዋት እነዛ ሲመለሱ 7 ይላል እንዴ እኛ ትናንትና 5 ሰርተን እነሱ 7 ሰርተው ጠበቁ ቆይ እናሳያቸዋል ብለው ከዛ productivity skyrocketed man ምን አረገ literally the only thing the guy did go in there he didn't say anything to them literally chalkboard አመጣ the only thing he did was like write the number and then that's it so he aroused that like competition feeling within the employees
yeah that's I mean I see why you say this should be the last resort and why the book Carnegie suggests this should be the last resort, right? Like it could create a lot of competition, like it's good, but it could create also a lot of internet, but that's very an amazing way to get productivity up.
It gives a chance for people to show their skills and not like it makes them want to show what they've got ነገር I've got this ነገር and trying to impress other people ነገር ማለት ነው yeah amazing honestly it really works it's awesome ገንዘብ is not the motive እንደምናውቀው like ገንዘብ is not it's nothing salary is nothing salary not benefit
I agree
it's all about the other stuff in the workplace yeah so yeah part 3 ምን ይመስላል any additions anything else anything that we've missed
I guess I don't think there is but I think we took our time
yeah we took our time but we have to work on that we have to get better on that
yeah for sure it's definitely a process but I guess some things just deserved explanations and our peace of mind our thoughts so we just had to but that was an amazing discussion
definitely if anybody has any feedback please drop your comments and we'll try to do whatever we can to cater to your needs nagar and now at the end of the day what we want to do is just share the knowledge that we've learned now like books are really amazing at least we believe that and like there are any people out there like that really think that there's a lot of knowledge that can be gained from books I guess we're just here trying to create a platform where people can take advantage of that yeah
amazing
all right let's wrap it up episode 3 and cut